So, hello everyone. Welcome to our final AAC Information Night for Caregivers. That all year we focus on communication bill of rights. And tonight we are going to introduce you to the last two, which are rights 14 and 15.
Hold on. Oh, there we go.
And so, anyone listening, again, welcome. I'm Margaret Edwards. I'm a speech therapist in the school district, and
I'm Carolee Worth, also a speech language pathologist.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about NWACS before we start. So NWACS stands for the Northwest Augmentative Communication Society. It's been around since the 70s, and it's one of the oldest and longest running organizations of this type. We have an annual conference which was held in October. It was fabulous, and we're all volunteers. And so yeah, if you would like to volunteer in NWACS, you're welcome to do that as well if you have an interest. And and other than that, if you're a parent, just let us know what you need. And NWACS is always trying to do new things to reach out to parents and help you parents on their AAC journey with their child. So for tonight, it's going to be short and sweet. We just want you to have a better understanding of the Communication Bill of Rights. So the opening statement of the Bill of Rights, by the way, if you look at some of our past presentations on this, there's a link to the Bill of Rights, and oh, it's also in the slide down here. There's a link. So there's an opening statement and says that all people with a disability of any extent or severity have a basic right to affect through communication the conditions of their existence. And beyond this general right, a number of specific communication rights should be ensured in all daily interventions involving persons who have severe disabilities. To participate fully in communication interactions, each person has these fundamental communication rights. And so there are 15 of them. So we'll go through them quickly. And number one is?
So the first one is the right to interact socially, maintain social closeness, and build relationships. We talked about this in one of our previous presentations, and it's just always important to have that relationship first so you can make the connections and then communicate or help teach the individual to communicate with.
And number two, the right to request desired objects, actions, events, and people. And in the previous presentation, we talked about yes, the person using AAC or any person has a right to request things, but not focusing just on requesting and looking at other communicative functions.
Mm-hmm. The third one is the right to refuse or reject undesired objects, actions, events, or choices. And this follows the previous one really well because there's so many more communication functions rather than just requesting. And I think that that's one of the things I'm really passionate about as a provider is talking about those other communication functions and giving access to that vocabulary. And there's so much more to communication than just making a request.
And the next one is the right to express personal preferences and feelings. So especially AAC users should have, if they have access to a robust system, there should be somewhere in there where they can express something they want or don't want, what they prefer, and how they feel about it.
The right to make choices from meaningful alternatives. That's highlighted. The right to make choices from meaningful alternatives.
Meaning, you want me to jump in?
Yeah, thanks. Because I think I blanked for a moment.
It's okay. So sometimes I have seen, like I said, I work in the schools where, especially with AAC users, people want to give them two choices, and one is really not really, it's something they don't really want. And so people like to do that to make sure that the AAC user really is really requesting something they really want. So, but if you offer something that they don't want anyway, then it's not a meaningful choice for them.
Thank you, Margaret.
It's okay. Number 6, the right to make comments and share opinions. Again, any robust AAC communication system should have somewhere in there where there's comments and an opinion. I like that, I don't like that, or that's yucky, that's gross.
Yeah. I love modeling yummy and yucky. Those are so fun.
Yucky, yes.
Yeah. And using fun too. Number 7, the right to ask for and give information, including information about changes in routine and environment. I think this is really important. A lot of times we talk about those things, but making sure we're using a system to share that information with the AAC user is really important. Take a step back if you're not sharing information, if you're just kind of going about your day and, oh, so and so's coming over, or we're stopping and doing something different today. Maybe this is the moment where you can stop and think, oh, I can share that information so that they know what's different or the change in the routine today.
Yeah, definitely. And number 8, the right to be informed about people and events in one's lives. Again, kind of goes along with number 7. So AAC users need to know what's going on. And just because I think sometimes people get confused that if a person doesn't speak verbal words out of their mouth and they don't understand, but they do. So you need to tell these AAC users about what's going on.
Number 9 is the right to access interventions and supports that improve communication. My interpretation of this is, you know, thinking about what I think when we talked about it in the presentation, their AAC can look like different things, or there's different modalities and different methods. So having access to all of it, right? Words, signs, gestures, light tech, higher tech, but other supports, knowing who members of the team are, asking questions. It's okay if somebody on the team doesn't know the answer, but coming to your team, and maybe seeking out referrals to find the support that you need for yourself or the AAC user or another member of the team. So interventions are probably already taking place, but I guess I'm talking to parents, you're an advocate for your child. If the intervention doesn't seem to be working, or it doesn't feel right, then it's okay to look for additional support or ask more questions, because ultimately the goal is for better communication for the AAC user, and a lot of that comes from the family too.
Yep, agreed. And so the right to have communication acts acknowledged and responded to, even when the desired outcome cannot be realized. And I believe when we talked about this one in an earlier presentation, we talked about, you can correct me, Carol, AAC user being able to ask for something even though they might not be able to get it
Yeah.
right then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I was working with a little one today with this, I want to walk. Great. I understand you want to walk, but it's not the time. And so just validating that
Yes.
is a great thing. I think when we talked about it, just treating an AEC user like a typical child or another individual, great. I want to go to Disneyland today, but we can't go. So great. That's something you want to do. It's something you like, but not something that can happen today. And just having that shared communication.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really empowering validation for, if that makes sense, for the AAC user to be able to say that, like, I was heard, and
Yeah.
you're receiving my message, even though it can't happen right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to wait. I model that a lot, to a lot of my clients. Number 11, the right to have access to functioning AAC, and other assistive technologies, so augmentative and alternative communication and assistive technology services and devices at all times. This is crucial. Just having access. It's not going to do any good if it's in a backpack, in the closet. It's not going to do any good if it's downstairs on the table. Having it within arm's reach, and low tech and high tech, we can use both of them at the same time. So the importance of light tech or low tech for moments like when the power's out and you can't charge your device, having access to an alternative is a huge thing. Can make a difference and reduce a lot of frustration. So if you don't have a low tech system in place, reach out to your team and see what options are out there.
And number 12, the right to access environmental contexts, interactions, and opportunities that promote participation as full communication partners with other people, including peers. So what I think this means is like AAC users have a right to have like be fully involved in every type of activities, birthday parties, I don't know, classroom, special activities or going outside, field trips, whatever. So all AAC users have a right to access anything promotes their that promotes them as a full participant, um, as with communication partners, other people like and including their classmates.
Yeah. Number 13 is the right to be treated with dignity and addressed with respect and courtesy. I feel like this is self-explanatory, but just a reminder is, they're a person, even though they can't necessarily communicate maybe as quickly or as efficiently as we do. They still um, deserve to be respected and talked to like you would talk to your friend or a family member.
Yeah, true. And this number 14 brings us to the new one, right, Carolee?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So the right to be addressed directly and not spoken. Oh, so this goes not spoken for or talked about in the third person while present. Some very similar to number 13. And I was thinking about this. If if we could just get this dignity thing down, like I think then all these other communication rights would just kind of all fall into place because if you're treating someone with dignity, then you won't talk about them like they're as if they're not there. Okay, and you'll give them access to their AAC device all the time. They'll be full participants in all activities. I mean, it's so if you just treat everybody with dignity, then all these other things are will be givens. And so, this to me seems like don't just I don't know. In my mind, just don't do it. So rude. It is so rude. Now, I will say this: there are times when I go out to work with a student and I need to talk to their teacher and they're sitting right there. I just let them know. I just like, I don't care how old they are, it doesn't matter. I just need to say, I need to talk to your teacher for a moment. And so we might talk about something about the AAC. We're not going to say anything about, their disability or anything like that, anything that would make them feel bad. But I might have to say, something to them about the operation of their AAC or something like that. But I let the person know and I don't pretend like they're just not there.
And I just, to add to that, Margaret, I think that ties back in though, is like talking about the environment, right? And what's happening in a change. Because if you're working with a student and then all of a sudden you switch you switch and you're going to talk to a different partner, you're explicitly telling them, I'm going to talk to somebody else. I'm going to talk to them about this because maybe your help, like you said, like educating, or there's something that you need to find or work through or make a change that really does need to be a conversation, not necessarily like about the person, but it relates to them, but you're not talking about the person. So I think, like you just said, like a lot of these rights are connected with each other, right?
Yeah.
And correct, right? Yeah, no, I think that's good. So that brings us to the last one.
Yes.
Um, number 15 is also new tonight, the right to have clear, meaningful, and culturally and linguistic appropriate communications. My interpretation of this, and could be different for everybody, but just being aware of cultural values for an individual and communicating to them in a manner that they understand. So I think, again, it circles back to that dignity and respect and just treating somebody that uses AAC the same way you would treat another individual.
Agreed. Yes.
So that brings us to the end for our theme this year. If you're new to these recordings or information PowerPoints at the end, we always provide resources. So these have been provided throughout the year. A lot of great ones on there. It takes time to kind of dive in and look around, but feel free to check those links out. Upcoming events, none at this time. So I think we have a couple coming out. I think that there's going to be some great resources launched on the website. And I think we have one more seminar, but definitely more evening seminars are coming in the new year. So like Margaret said, we just had a wonderful annual conference. I think our plan is to have another one in October of 23. So at this time, bless you, we have nothing else for the parent information nights, but we'd love to hear from you. So if you're watching this and it's late at night or early in the morning or in the middle of the day and you think of something, please feel free to send us an email. You can access the email through the website, contact us, which here's lots of ways to get in touch with us or follow us. So you can, there's links here you can check out, look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube. If you are a parent or a caregiver, there is a special group on Facebook just for other family members. So it's a great place to, ask questions, share things that have worked well, or talk about obstacles you may be facing at a time. And then kind of circling back to our general website, there's a lot of great information on there for families and also team members. Um, and we're always looking for volunteers. So if you're a parent, if you're a speech language pathologist, if you're an audiologist or a teacher, just a couple hours here and there or active involvement throughout the year would be great. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you're interested or if you have any questions. That brings us to the end. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.